everybody and welcome to Board Game Inquisition, where we're here to offer you insight and information about your board games. So once a month we sit down and do these kind of stock takes or monthly roundups as I call them, where I talk about games I've played, games I've purchased, games I've traded for, and general just kind of what's been going on in the past month or so with the channel, with gaming in general. As always, I'd love for you to play along at home. I'm really excited to hear about what people have been playing, what games have excited you or what games really disappointed you and whatnot. I just think it's a fun way to kind of get people together and talking about their games. Now, October is a pretty special month in terms of board games because Essen Spiel took place, which is the world's biggest board gaming convention. And as I'm sure pretty much all of you are aware by now, I went for a day. Just one day. What was I thinking? And I promised you, a roundup and some videos and stuff when I got back. So the reason there's been such a delay for this is that the minute I got back from Essen, I got ridiculously sick. And I've been sick for like over a week solid. I'm really only starting to feel a little bit better today and I'm still quite tired. So my apologies for the delay in this, but I kind of had no control over it. So Essen as a whole, wow, what an amazing place. I had really underestimated just how big Essen was and just how much stuff there would be going on there. So when I, casually said, oh, maybe, I'll go for a day, I thought, I don't know what I thought, but whatever it was wrong. Really, really, really wrong. And Essen really was just, out of this world in good ways and in bad ways. So I'll tell you a little bit about my trip. I didn't really take any photos or a lot of video, mostly due to time constraints, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But I have some video, and what I'll probably do is I'll stream it next to me here while I have a chat with you, so you can kind of get an idea what I saw or kind of how I approached everything. So my adventure started, I left here in Cork at 12:30 a.m. and I got myself a bus and I got myself to Dublin, Ireland's capital, and that's where my plane to Dusseldorf was headed. And all of that was pretty fine, traveling through the night, that's all good, right? That's fair enough. And the airport was pretty easy to manage, it was early in the morning. And then once I hit Dusseldorf, the idea of, the problems with the trains kind of began. And not necessarily that there are issues, but I learned a lot of things about German trains. And I suppose, this is the same way we kind of organise trains here. But in my plan, I learned exactly the number of the train route or which number train would go there, right? Makes sense. However, trains go both ways. So it became difficult to figure out, was the train going towards Essen or away from Essen? And that was the difficult thing. Now, of course, the trains were labelled at their end point, right, where the train would finish. But I didn't have that information with me. And the internet on my phone didn't work in Germany, so I wasn't able to get in touch with anybody throughout the day or to post pictures or just take snaps or, look stuff up. So eventually I found my way out to the train and got towards Essen, and then got a tram also to Essen. Similar issue there, you need to know the end stop of the tram or you don't know which way the tram is going. So I went the wrong way for a stop and then got off and then got back on and headed on it. Spiel. Conveniently enough, I love how Germany's their entire system of travel is just so next to each other. It all made loads of logical sense. It was really easy technically, to get to the convention centre. So I arrived and I entered in through Hall 5, I think it was, and I was instantly like, wow. Oh my god, it was just so much stuff, right? And in my mind, Hall 5, and Hall 6 and those were the smaller halls, but there was, it was insane. It was just so much stuff and so many things. And it had taken me a lot longer than I had intended to get to Spiel in the first place. I was actually really, really late getting there because of the figuring out the trains. So I had an appointment made at 1 o'clock to meet with the designer of Roan, who was hoping I would review his game, and I got to meet up with him, and I have a little interview with him that I'll probably Don't know if I'll put here, I might put here, or I'll attach to the review for Roan when I get to do it. And it's a very exciting looking post-apocalyptic card game, and I had a lot of fun sitting down with the game's creator and asking questions as he taught me how to play it, and that was a really nice experience for me. Like, I do review quite a lot of games, but you never get to sit down with their designer, as you know, and have them kind of show off to you like that. So that was a really kind of special moment. So I got that out of the way, and I realized the first thing I should probably do was go and pick up some of the games I had pre-ordered. Now, by accident, they were all in the same hall, which was Hall 4. So I found my way to Hall 4 and I started hauling ass around the place trying to gather everything. So in Hall 4, I acquired Dinosaur Island from Pandasaurus Games. And they were really, really lovely people, by the way. Well, I had a great chat with Hunter, I believe, and with someone else who was there in the stand. And that was just kind of, it was really kind of heartwarming, because I was doing this all by myself and didn't really have, you know, anybody I knew with me. So it was just, everybody was really, really friendly, but they really stood out to me. So go Pandasaurus Games. The second stop there was to Modius Games for Symphony Number 9. That was a very busy stall. I was delighted to get that, and I'd already paid for it. The next stop then, of course, where all my excitements live, was the Emperor S4 stand. And there was a queue. There was a really big queue, and a queue all the way around the corner, and I was just so excited. I thought it was amazing. The two ladies serving the stands were in these beautiful robes, like Realm of Sand style, and it was really amazing for me to see so many people excited about games that I really loved. I was actually giving out recommendations while I was in the queue. People were trying to decide, and I was like, oh, if you like this, you'll like this. I don't know. There was something very special about it. And so while I was there, I got Walking in Burano. I got a game called Color Match, I think it is as well. I'd never heard of before, but it was available for pre-order. I still have to get to that. I got a bunch of promos. I believe this is the only games company I get promos for. So I got some really cool Hanamakoji characters and expansions for Roundhouse as well. And actually the biggest thing, I got a playmat. My first ever playmat, guys. I don't have any for board games generally, but I bought the playmat for Planet Defenders from Emperor S4. It's huge. It's way bigger than I thought it was. So as you can imagine, at this point I'm weighed down by, you know, quite a variety of games. So I make a stop to the post office. Thank God there was a post office. Otherwise people like me couldn't do anything. So basically my strategy of the day was to load up my arms with whatever I could carry and then get to the post office. So the first box then got filled up with all that stuff, and I sent it away. And by this time it was almost time for me to go and meet with the representative from White Wizard Games. And this one was a really big one, right? Because that's a big name company, and I really love Star Realms, and I was super excited to go and meet with them. So this was in Hall 1, so that's quite a walk. All the halls were kind of connected, so if you want to get to Hall 1 you have to go to like 6, 5, 4, 3. I'm sure there were other ways of doing it. I couldn't figure it out, so I stuck with that. So I started making the trek towards Hall 1 quite early, because at this stage I've been awake for, you know, a long time, and I was getting really tired and kind of hungry and whatnot, and it was just, I was feeling kind of overwhelmed, because I was starting to realize that this trip wasn't going to go how I'd planned. You know, I had this vision where I would just hop around the halls and pick up the stuff from the shops and have loads of time to chill and talk to people, you know, and really that wasn't how it was going at all. I was already exhausted and a bit, it was all a bit much, I think is the best way to put it. And I was like, how am I going to get the other things on my list? I just didn't realize there would be so much. So I started trekking my way to Hall 1 to go for my appointment, and thankfully on the way I ran into some other games I'd meant to pick up, namely Concordia Venus. I ran into their stand on the way, so that was handy, so I picked up Concordia Venus. I also ran into, and I'm looking sideways because I'm looking at the side of the box, NSKN Games for Teotihuacan. That was actually literally right next to White Wizard Games. And I don't think I actually would have gotten around to picking up everything else on my wish list otherwise. otherwise, because I didn't go seeking out stalls anywhere else. I was just tired. My plan then became to finish with White Wizard Games and post off everything else I had, and then just head back to the airport. You know, you don't realize sometimes till you do something big just how limited you really are. I don't do outside a lot, and I don't do people a lot, and while I was fine with having it all in my head and having it worked out, actually going and doing it was a good bit harder than I had anticipated. And I think it was because there was a lot of time pressure on me. I thought because in my head, you know, Spiel was a bit smaller, it would be quicker to get around all these stalls, there'd be time to do this, to sit down and take a break. Really, there just wasn't. I was completely out of my element. So anyway, I make it to go and see White Wizard Games, and I have the wrong name for the guy I'm supposed to meet. It was the most embarrassing thing ever, and I was like, why did I have this written down wrong? But he wasn't there at the time. They were like, he went to get some food, and I was like, okay, I'll wait a bit. So I wait a bit at the Starram stand, and I'm basically getting in people's way because I have a bag of stuff with me, and I wait and I wait. So I wait about 10 minutes, and then I say, look, I'm gonna just leave it because I'm exhausted at this point and I can barely stand. I'm like, you know what, we'll meet another time. And I'm really annoyed I didn't get to do that meeting, but I'm also kind of annoyed that, you know, I suppose I was made wait round a bit because I was really excited to do that, but I think at this point I was trying to do damage control just to make sure I got home. So I have my last armload of games, and I'm heading back then towards the post office. But I have one more collection to do. Actually two, but one that was out of the way and not near the post office, was to collect Promenade game. This is a really interesting looking game about impressionist art, and about, like, it's economical in a sense as well, where you're trying to raise the value of paintings and then sell them for, you know, for money. It's not available yet as far as I know. It's just, I have a copy just to review, but it was really nice to meet the game's designer as well and pick that up. I think it's a beautiful game. I actually had it on my Essen list before he was looking for reviewers, so that's a big bonus. And across the way from Promenade was the stall for selling Ceylon. So I said I would pick that up. It wasn't on my need list, which I missed out a couple of things from, and it wasn't on my second-hand list. That went out the window as fast as possible because I couldn't even there was just so many stalls, it would be impossible to go routing. I just really didn't have time. So I said I'd get one thing off the kind of the second need list, and Ceylon looked amazing kind of set up, so I picked that up. And I head back to the post office for the second batch. Thank God for post offices. So then I have one more place to go, and it's to meet Bez from By Bez Games, and he wanted to show me his game Wibble. And at this point I wrecked and I'm miserable, and I sit in the chair, and Bez was just so lovely. So we got to sit down and had a chat. I got to meet Semi Co-op while I was sitting there. I was like, oh, I get a famous moment. You should check out their comics if you don't already. And Bez just had a nice little chat with me and understood that I needed to go early, so he showed me his word game fairly fast. It's just like a little deck of cards, and off I headed to head all the way back home. So it was I really wanted the day to be so much more fun, when really it was just like an endurance test. I think there's a reason Spiel happens over 4 days. It's not something you do in a day. It's something you kind of take in over time and you kind of digest, I think. I really feel like I didn't get to see 10% of the place at all. And I'm kind of mad at myself that I thought I could. You know, because I basically was setting myself up for failure from the beginning. Now, obviously, you know, yeah, I made it. I got there. I got some games home, you know, that's all great. But I'm not sure at what cost that was kind of mentally to me. Already, I really want to go next year, and I want to do it for the 4 days and do it proper and take our time, because I think that's really the way to do it. But overall, I'm glad I went. It was definitely an experience. And if you enjoy kind of, I don't know, I just want to say board game conventions, no, but this is beyond that. It really was a kind of, it's really a special place, and I would definitely recommend people go see it. Just, you know, not as a flash in the pan idea. Yeah, so that's basically, you know, how Essen went for me. And because I was so stressed out, like so much random things to carry, I didn't get to take really any video or photos. I don't even know why I brought my camera, which is super sad, because I wanted to make one of those cool video log videos that you see everyone else do, but it was just out of my reach. So you're getting this and whatever stuff I've taken, and hopefully you kind of get an idea of how it went. Okay, so yeah, Essen. Woo. Good stuff, good stuff. So we'll get into the normal monthly roundup stuff. So the interesting thing about Essen, of course, is the fact that I pre-ordered some games before I went, because I knew I wanted to buy them, and so there was no harm in having them here, saving me posting them home. So my list of games we've acquired this month is long, and most of them are pretty much from Essen, but I do have some really interesting reviews to look at too. So it's time for my trusty pieces of paper. Okay, so new games this month. So the first one, and going way back to the start of the month, is Dice of Pirates. And I really feel like I've done this game a disservice because I haven't had a chance to talk about it much yet. But Dice of Pirates is the first game I have in a tin, people. I made it, finally, a game in a tin. And it's got a tiny, tiny pirate ship. I haven't even taken photos yet, so I can't show you. But basically, it's a fun little kind of combat dice rolling game. And like most games from Thing 12 Games, it's got a nice twist to it that makes it just more than, you know, what you think it might be. So, you know, you can roll to attack somebody, and then your opponent gets to roll dice back, and vice versa. And the winner is the person to have stolen their opponent's coins. And I really liked it. The minute I played it, I wanted to play it again and again, and I think it's just it's simple fun, and I think it's really, really enjoyable. So hopefully I'll get around to taking some photos of it, because the pirate ship's amazing, and I just want to photograph it everywhere. But I have so many little things to do, so this is on the list. Okay, so the second new set of game we got is BattleCon Devastation of Indines. So as you know, or may not know, there is a Kickstarter for BattleCon right now, or maybe it's finished actually. So there's recently been a Kickstarter for BattleCon, where they're bringing out new expansions, and you can buy the base box and things like that, and it just seemed expensive, so we ordered we bought secondhand one of the bigger boxes, because people are getting rid of them because they're buying the new stuff. So we're quite happy with kind of the secondhand version. We didn't need all the shiny stuff. So that's BattleCon Devastation of Indines. Okay, next on the agenda, the Manhattan Project Energy Empire. I'll be doing a review of this soon. I've only 1 or 2 games under my belt right now. But it's a really interesting game where you want to make as much energy as possible while creating as little pollution as possible. It's a dice game, but also mostly a tableau builder. And we've really enjoyed it so far. I feel like I need to play another game or two to wrap my head around it fully, but it's definitely very, very promising. Okay, so now we get into what I'm calling the Essen pre-purchases. So first up is Root. Haha! Now, obviously Root is taking the world by storm. Also, Root seems to be unobtainium here in Europe, and also Root wasn't going to be available at Essen. So before Essen happened, as my husband pointed out, that a game shop in Dublin were claiming they had copies of Root, which seems weird, right? Because they said they hadn't given any copies out to their distributors yet. And I was like, there's no way that's real. That can't actually be, you know, Root. So we look at their website, and they have a game listed as Root with no picture, no description, no nothing, but roughly in the right price range. So we're like, is this really Root? Should we try this? Okay, so we decided to try it. So we put in the money, and we waited. And we waited, and sure enough, it was actually Root. So that was a kind of hilarious moment for our week. Root is a fascinating game, and I'm sure everyone's sick of hearing about Root at this point. For me, I thought it was really interesting. I like the fact that there are a variety of factions, each one functions differently, and each one has a different way to win the game, and you kind of want to try and win the game while also preventing other people from completing their objectives. The meeples, of course, are the most adorable thing on the planet. You can't say no to that. But I really enjoyed the player boards and how each faction played differently. We've played it 2-player, which was strange. I don't know how much better or worse it would be with more players. I'm quite enthused about it. I want to play more of it. My husband is less so enthused. So we'll see where this goes, but I definitely, when you hear enough about something, you just want to try it out yourself. Yeah, that seems to be the case here. So I'll see what I make of Root the more plays it gets. It's come at a time when there's like 15 other games to play. So that's Root. Okay, so next. This one is actually also recommended by Thing12 Games, who told me about this in a tweet many moons ago about old games that were still great, and it's The Downfall of Pompeii. As the title suggests, there's a volcano and it's about to erupt in the town of Pompeii. And the game is split into 2 phases. So the first phase is where you're populating the city, obviously with, escape routes in mind. The second phase then becomes a tile laying game where the volcano has erupted and you get to place down lava tiles and see how many people die or have their exit ways obstructed, and the winner is the person who has the most survivors at the end of the game. The coolest thing about the game is the volcano. It's just amazing. It's a plastic volcano that sits in and you can light it up. I think that's so cool. I also like that it's a strategy game, but a really light one, and it's got a great theme because you really want to get behind your people. So you kill your friends, people, you want your own to live, and I think it's just it's such a fun game to play. I'm dying to play more of that as well, but so far so good. I think it's pretty exceptional. Okay, this list is going to go on forever if I don't hurry up. So next up, Clans of Caledonia. This is one that's been on my radar for a really good while, which is why it came in the Essen pre-shopping list, because I definitely wanted it. I still haven't played it yet. I know, this is the first time in a really long time, by the way, I have a pile I haven't got to. I'm working my way through them rather diligently. I think Clans of Caledonia is next, but it's an economic farming game. You guys can tell me what you think of it if you've played it. We like economic games here, even though I'm bad at them. I like the idea of the little meeples and things. It looks good. So next, that's on the queue. Alright, here we go. Okay, these I have played at least. Spirit Island, people. Yeah, finally got it. Spirit Island actually I think has been on my wish list since I started making wish lists of some sort. And it's always one that's perplexed me because my husband hasn't really liked the look of it, but I have. So finally we caved and I got to get Spirit Island, and I was sick, so sick in fact that my husband had the rule book and he was like, are you going to play? And I'm like, I can't play, I can't go to bed. I told him to play a solo game of Spirit Island. He played his first ever solo game, people. Woo! And he liked it, and what's even funnier is he was pushing me to play it, and of course I'm filled with immense satisfaction that I was right, and this keeps happening with these games we've purchased. It seems when I choose the games everybody likes them, people. Oh, love it. Spirit Island is so much fun. I really enjoyed it. It's actually completely exceeded my expectations, apart from one aspect, and that is the size of the little houses and the little white people you put out on your board of those invaders. If you look at any pictures of Spirit Island like I have on Instagram, I thought those models were full size, so I was super disappointed when they came out of the box. I'm like, what? They're teeny. They're like, you know, yay tall. So I was shocked, but I love the cooperative nature of the game. It really reminds me of Ghost Stories, the way, you know, things happen in an order, so you can kind of plan accordingly and be prepared. I love the cards. I love the way you get cards, and I like the way things just interact nicely. I think it's a well thought out and very fun game. So, Spirit Island. Okay, next. Finally, more things. Okay, the things just keep on coming. Coimbra. So, Coimbra, the last time I spoke about it, I said it was this beautiful Euro game that was, you know, had been kind of re-themed, not re-themed, but kind of reskinned to make it look better. Now I can tell you what the game's actually about because I've played it. So Coimbra is basically, you know, you're head of a... Maybe I can't explain it. So Coimbra basically seems to be you're part of a city, and you're recruiting people to come and be part of your city, and there's a part of it that's a pilgrimage. Yet again, not describing this good. I've only played Coimbra once, to be fair, but it's phenomenal. Oh, it's like we were about halfway through the game and I said we probably don't need the rest of our dice management games anymore. That's how good it is. I love the way it works. So like on a turn you roll dice, and then you get to choose which dice you want, and each dice color represents like a victory track or a type of noble that you might recruit, and can only do so using those colors. It's very clever and it's not complicated. It's actually just straight up fun, and I won. Well, we tied and I won on the tiebreaker, but that's totally legit, right? So yeah, Coimbra, super impressed with that. That was a good standout one. And then on Saturday we also played Heaven and Ale. Now I have a confession to make. For the longest time I thought that Heaven and Ale and A Feast for Odin were the same game. I don't know why I got it in my head that they were like that, but I did. And then when I found out that Heaven and Ale was actually by Michael Kiesling, I hope I have that right now. Someone's going to correct me if I'm wrong, but it was made it even more intriguing that it wasn't a Rosenberg game. So Heaven and Ale is you're a monk, and you're a variety of monks, and you're trying to build ale, and not the best kind of ale, but the most balanced ale. We kind of had trouble explaining the rules to each other at the start, but then the minute we played the game we went, oh god, you know, this is so basic, this isn't difficult at all. I like the fact it's got a tile laying aspect, kind of like Castles of Burgundy, but then it's got a track and and a roundel, all the things, and it's a phenomenal game, and it's incredibly well paced. Because initially it was supposed to be 3 rounds, and I'm like, 3 rounds? I won't have anything done in 3 rounds. And it ended at exactly the right moment. I was super impressed with the timing on this one. And the gameplay, it was a really fun game. My husband hammered me around the place a bit, but that's alright. I'm looking forward to Vengeance, but it was a really, really good game. Okay, so next 3 I'm just going to list together because I haven't played any of them, and I'm sure you know about them by now from all the Essen shenanigans. So Teotihuacan, Dinosaur Island, Concordia Venus. So I haven't got to any of these yet. Dinosaur Island though, I did open and sing a lot of the Jurassic Park theme tune. The components are lovely. The velvet bag is so nice. Because even if I haven't played all the games, I will totally open them up and see what's inside. Really good with that. So Concordia Venus looks like more maps and more cards. It's actually really empty inside the box. It's designed for team play, so I kind of feel like we might need more people to play it with than just the 2 of us. We'll have to wait and see. So that just leaves Teotihuacan, which I haven't played yet, but it looks like it has phenomenal components. So I'll tell you more things about these as I play them. Okay, so what is left then? So we are left with Sail On, which is the game about tea. Yet again, I've only looked inside the box. The box is beautiful. It's this lovely kind of cornered box with circular inside. Really, really nice. Symphony number 9, which I almost got to play, got really close. We had it actually set up, which is all about the lives of various composers. And I just wasn't feeling well enough to finish it, so I had to put it away. It also comes in a really amazing box, and it's quite small. I was really surprised at how small Symphony number 9 is in real life. Definitely looking forward to that. And then, so the last one then is Walking in Burano from Emperor S4 Games, and Match Me, also from Emperor S4 Games. So Walking in Burano is a card laying game where you're basically trying to complete sets or see things in the cards you lay down and match them. I need to play it to know more, but I will say one thing: the components in that are stunning. They have these amazing tokens that look almost like they're glossy. I don't know how they've managed it, but it's really, really cool. And Match Me is like a colour matching game. It's like a quiz game. And I've not heard anything about it from anywhere at all. So I'll let you know when I know, because the rules were only in Japanese in the box. I just found the English rules about an hour ago and printed those out. So that's where that goes. Okay, so that was the entirety of kind of the Essen pile. So some games I've received that will be coming up for review that, you know, I thought we'll throw these in here as well that you might want to know about. So the first on the list, both come from PSC Games, which is Battle Ravens, which is their upcoming Kickstarter, and Lincoln. Now, this is interesting for me because I've not done board games before. I've done war games. I've played lots and lots of those. So I thought this would be really interesting, especially because Battle Ravens is considered like an introductory game to war games. So I'm very curious to see how that pans out and to be able to kind of share that with you. Lincoln looks like a full-on proper war game with chits and stuff inside it. I actually know absolutely nothing about it other than Lincoln's on it, so I assume it's some Civil War thing, and I'll also let you know how that goes. And I'll do my best to be kind of honest as a kind of an outsider, I guess, because these type of games are very new to me, so I'm very interested to see what happens. Okay, what is next? So I have a few things I picked up at Essen that I mentioned. So Roan is one of those, the post-apocalyptic card game. Promenade, the art game. Wibble, the word game. Wibble is interesting. So this is from Stuff by Bez. And, you know, when you hear about it's a word game and it's, you know, it's a deck of cards, you don't really think a lot of it, do you? I know I didn't. I was like, not sure what this is going to be about. But when I got home from Essen, actually the one day I had that was good, I was like, why don't we try this out? It's a really great game. It's a speed word game, and it's difficult. We both instantly realized how bad we are at language, but it definitely exceeded my expectations. Now I sound like I didn't, you know, have a lot of those going in, but it's a very well thought out game and very fun. I think it'll make a great party game, and it's got multiple ways to play it, so you really get a lot out of your box. So I'm looking forward to doing a review of sorts for that later. So that was Wibble. And then the last game to show up isn't a game I have to review at all, which is quite exciting, but I want to tell you about it. So it's called Scofton, and it's from Vamoose Games, and it's on Kickstarter, I do believe, right now, and it's a worker placement game that doesn't look like one. So it's kind of put together in a very cartoony kind of style, and the idea is that you are at an all-you-can-eat buffet and you're trying to fill your belly with as much food as possible, and your dessert portion of your belly with as much food as possible without overloading kind of on the lower point items like bread. So you think, okay, what? When you hear that, it's interesting. But the board itself is a map of a diner, and you put your worker where you want to go in the diner. So you're trying to basically make sets of food and put them in your tummy to score points. There are other ways to score points as well. There is a claw grabbing machine, which is pretty cool. So you can get points from that. And a lot of it as well is about being very careful when you place things at what time, and of course, you know, keeping an eye on your opponents. So there's much more to this than meets the eye. I seem to love saying that Transformers thing. But I definitely think you should check it out if worker placements are your jam and you like something kind of bright and colourful, with kind of a fun aspect to it. It's kind of a fun Euro game, which is not entirely an oxymoron, but rare. So yeah, if that sounds like it's up your street, you should totally check it out. I've posted some pictures actually already, and hopefully I'll get a chance to play it again. Okay, so I feel like I should be taking a break or a drink about now. So that's the new games. Unsurprisingly, there were no trades this month, because all of the games. Yeah. Does anyone else get annoyed when they can't put their game on a shelf? Because right now I'm entirely out of shelf space and I just have stacks of them sitting on top of the clacks, and I just feel dirty. It just feels wrong. It's wrong inside. So the sooner I can get me some shelves, the better, because they annoy me. Okay, so let's get on to it. So games we've been playing this past month. All right, so a lot of these we've discussed already, but we'll start with the most popular one, I think, which is Realm of Sand. So I hope you know by now I did a review for Realm of Sand. And it's possibly the best puzzle game I've ever played, and I'm not exaggerating. And that includes all those Uwe Rosenberg puzzle trilogy set things that our friend Brian introduced us to, all of which I was terrible at. But Realm of Sand is just... it's just good. I think that's the only way to put it. It's good and it makes sense, and it makes you think. And it's easy on the eye on the table. You can check out my review, obviously, if you want to know more. I totally recommend that you do, because it's a fantastic game. And interestingly enough, it's probably the only game out of the Emperor's 4 pile that my husband really enjoys, which is, I guess, a really good thing. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. My apologies, I think I might have the hiccups. Okay, so second on the list was Root, which we spoke about. I want to play more of it. A lot of reviewers have said that when it comes to Root is that you always feel like you just want to try it again and again and again, but you never really get there. I don't care, to be honest. I think if the game keeps my interest, I want to play it. And I don't know how it compares with 2. We did manage to play it with 3. I do think it's the kind of game that will benefit from multiple plays to fully understand how everything interacts, or how to prevent somebody else winning, which is an unusual thing, I suppose, to have to say, because you can't just focus on yourself in Root, because if you do, the person next to you will have just, you know, launched ahead. But I have really enjoyed it. It's definitely a thought-provoking one. Don't let the cute meeples, you know, fool you. There's a really dense game in there, and I really want to know more. I think that's how it's left me feeling. I want to know more. Okay, so next then is Dice of Pirates, which we've also discussed. I think the reason there's quite a few plays of that was because I played a bunch of them back to back. I was determined to win a pirate ship. You have to buy one, it takes some coins. I never managed to do it, but then yeah, you get it. But it's a fun thing. It definitely makes a great travel game. I kind of love saying that about games that are small, because it's in a tin, it's tiny, it fits in your pocket, and it's just, yeah, it's just fun. And I think, you know what, sometimes a game doesn't need to be more than that. Sometimes if you enjoy it, I think that should be all that matters, right? No matter how you got there. So Dice of Pirates. So basically that is what we've been playing this month. I've been really busy the past month or so trying to get out as many reviews as possible, or have them ready for this month, because I kind of anticipated that after Essen I would need a break or a bit of downtime or something like that, because of, I suppose, how strenuous something like that is. So I prepared myself as much as I could, but already there are more things to do, and I need to learn to say no to people and to set boundaries. So my goal is, if I can get everything done for this month, I might slow down a little bit in December for Christmas month. I don't know about other people, but I find that the run up to Christmas for me is a really difficult one. And I don't know if it's just that there's a variety of anniversaries going on in my family, or my birthday comes up, or just Christmas, families, all that stuff. It's just a great, I don't know, it brings me down a little. Other people get excited about it, you know, that's great, but for me, subconsciously, I don't feel the same as I normally would, and that makes, you know, making videos and stuff like that all that bit harder. So less depressing things. So wish list. Wish list. Okay, well, I ain't gonna lie, I do indeed have a wish list, folks, and that's because I didn't get to go look for everything I wanted to at Essen. So the two top games are on the second-hand list. Say it with me, folks, I've been saying it for months. Orleans and The Voyages of Marco Polo. Still haven't got there. And they were the two things I definitely wanted to pick up. There was one other game that I really wanted to get, and I have really wanted to get for some time, but we thought it was too expensive for Essen, because, you know, one big game is the same as, you know, 2 or 3 small games. So we were going to do it that way. And so the top of my wish list is Anachrony. And I'm hopeful. I came home with money from Essen, meaning I should be able to acquire some things, right? Because I didn't get all the way around. It's difficult to know what to pick, because I love Anachrony. Oh my god. And I've never even played it. I don't need to. I don't need to. I'm sold. You know, there are suits. There's time traveling. You can't top stuff like that for me. So it's difficult to decide whether I get the 2 smaller games or the bigger games. Has anybody played all 3 and has a preference? That'd be really cool to know. But what is on everyone else's wish list right now? Have you a bunch of stuff that came out from Essen that you'd like to get, or did you get games at Essen? What have you been thinking about them so far? You know, about the new releases. I love hearing about that stuff. My top pick out of the games that came out of Essen, the problem is they're not all played yet. I think that's really unfair, isn't it? Yeah, I know. I think that's unfair. I'm not gonna judge. I'm not gonna judge yet. It's way too soon. So yeah. So I think that's everything for this month. Anything else to report from Board Game Inquisition? No, I'm really chuffed where this is all going, I have to say. My subscribers are creeping up ever so slowly, so thank you for that. I'm thinking about setting up a Patreon, and for those of you who don't know, Patreon is a way for, you know, so people to support artists, to give them money or whatever like that. And I'm not doing it because I want money. I don't think you should have to pay for this. This is my choice to do these things. I love that you love it with me. That's brilliant. I love that you watch it. That's even better. But someone pointed out to me, if somebody did want to give me money, would it be terrible to not have a way to do that? It's something I'm considering. I think I might just set up a Patreon account and say nothing about it and just leave it there and see if anything happens. Like, if I did get some money, it would just be put into, you know, stuff for the camera and things like that, or editing software, I guess. All that kind of boring stuff. But like I said, I don't really need money, and I'm not particularly comfortable asking for it. So yeah, I think maybe I'll just make a Patreon and I'll just leave it sit. I'll say nothing about it and do no more about it than that. Have you guys any thoughts on Patreon? Do you support other people? You know, what normally happens? I don't really know a lot about it. I just think it might be nice if somebody wanted to, that they could give me something. I don't know. For now, Board Game Inquisition stays exactly as it is, and I assume it will, with more content and more games for me to review, so it's busy. But thank you as always for watching, and let me know what you've been up to this month. I feel like I should ask a question and we should all try and answer it in the post, you know. So if I'm not going to ask about an essay game, maybe I should go being, what's been your favourite game this month? So obviously you don't have to pick your favourite game of all time, you know, I don't do that either. But a game that you've really enjoyed this month. Yeah, game I really enjoyed this month. So I'm going to vote on, if I do one I really enjoyed this month, I'm going to go with Coimbra. I've only played it once, but I really liked it. So tell me yours in the comments below, and I will see you next month or next video. Alright, take care everybody. Goodbye. Bye bye.